We are rolling on the 27th day of July at UCLA, where it's a beautiful day. The sunshine is shining. There are no princesses outside, unfortunately. Just in the room, okay. Before us is David. Watch your hands, let him be by your side. Good. Who's about to share with us a film that really moved him. And hopefully he'll impress us by showing real emotions. So the floor is yours. David, you have 5 minutes.
So between the 1980s and the 1990s, every kid wanted to be Rocky Balboa. Everyone wanted to be the Italian stallion because of his story and his perseverance in faced with adversity. The 3 ways this film really moved me was it made me feel inspired, it made me feel connected to Rocky, and then it also helped me mourn the loss of those who have passed on. So on March 12th of 2001, because this is an old film, Amar Halil Dawson of BBC referred to the movie as dialogue-driven emotional hell, which I agree with his quote because compared to the Rocky films before and after this one, which is the 3rd, it is true, it has probably the most dialogue out of any of them. To start, so the first way that I felt inspired, Rocky's coach, mentor, trainer, all that, Mickey, who's been there since the first one, at the beginning of this movie, he tells Rocky he can't beat the first opponent, Clubber Lang, which is Mr. T, and says, basically, he's too big for you, you'll get killed in there. And this reminds me of the days in high school when my coach used to tell me as a lacrosse player that you couldn't do it, that you weren't the right guy. And just like my coach told me and Mickey told him, it just made us feel, me and Rocky, that we're just going to train 10 times harder than the guy next to us. We're just going to become even better than before. And that's really how I felt inspired by the movie. The second way the film helped me feel connected to Rocky was when Mickey dies. So before the first fight, Clubber Lang and his posse, and Rocky and his posse, a whole brawl ensues. And Mickey gets viciously thrown into a wall, basically. And it then leads to a heart attack. And it reminds me of when in high school, again, my coach died before one of my games, like Rocky did. That game, just like Rocky, we ended up losing. But the next day, we mourned his loss, and we just got right back at it. Because there's nothing much that you can really do after that. And just like Rocky, we fought, we played every single game after that, every single boxing match that he had for our coach and for the people that have passed on, so that's really how I felt connected. And then the third way I was moved by this film was it helped me mourn kind of with the loss of my coach when, in the movie, Apollo Creed, who was his biggest rival throughout the first 2 films, basically says, you know what, let's train together. We're gonna beat this guy. And he tells Rocky, let's do everybody a favor and knock this chump out. And it kind of reminds me of the coach who stepped up after my other coach passed, and before every game he would just be like, let's go, we're gonna do this for him. Just keep getting up, just keep getting back up for more and all that. He really just like moved me in a way that I can fight for my coach every single game. In summary, Rocky and his 3 ways that have helped me, in summary, this film has affected me in 3 different ways. It has inspired me, it has connected me to Rocky, and it has helped me mourn the loss of people who have passed on. Just like Rocky Balboa, we both persevered through adversity, and he teaches you that no matter how hard your life is at the time, you can always get back up and just keep fighting for what's right and all that. And basically, this is a film, no doubt, that you will love. Yeah, and I recommend it. Thank you.
Okay. Or shall we start? Let's start here with Ludo.
I am Ludo.
Hi, Ludo.
I really liked your voice. I think you were really convincing.
Thank you, Ludo.
Hi, my name is Ian.
Hi, Ian.
I like the transition that you did between your personal stories and the film. It really did.
Good. Okay. David? See, you're doing this thing with your hands still. I would work with your hands. And the people that you practice with, don't tell them that you don't want to be allowed to put your hands together ever. And you're still doing the steepling. And that's a romper room no-no. David, I liked your speech. It was a good topic, and you got the basic idea. You did it extemporaneously, which I appreciate. Next time, put it in the 7 Roman numeral outline form, which you identify intro, and write the word intro, thesis, sig statement, main body, summary, conclusion, tie back. And this will help you know where you are and not skip any parts. Your intro was, you said, every kid wanted to be Rocky Balboa. Faced with adversity, they persevered, and it was a film of perseverance. And then you went on to your thesis briefly, right? So I would have preferred that you tied back to every kid wanted to be like Rocky Balboa instead of I think you should all go see it. I liked it. To have a more vivid tie back to exactly where you started. You go back to what you started with. Your thesis preview was fine. Your sig statement was good. You agreed with the reviewer, and that was fine. The first feeling you told us you felt was inspired. And you told us that, briefly about Rocky, but then mostly that your coach said you didn't really have it, but it had the reverse effect upon you, David, and it inspired you to work harder. I wish you had spent a little more time on that feeling of, I was inspired. I went to the weight room more, I ran more laps, I practiced. Whatever lacrosse is, what do you use? Is there a ball and a hawk?
It's like hockey, but...
It's like hockey, okay. And so, you mentioned the things that as you were inspired you did, and so we really have evidence of your inspiration. We feel it, we'll feel it too. So it could have been a little stronger. Your second feeling was, you just said you felt connected to Rocky. And I guess that meant you identified with the situation that happened in the film and your situation when your coach passed. I think maybe if you said sad or inspired or some other emotion that you felt rather than connected with Rocky, you could have had more to elaborate on. That would have been more effective. Finally, you said the film moved you. And here you had a new coach who used the old coach as a form of motivation, and you said that really did move you. Again, more elaboration. You had a good summary. I was looking for a conclusion, and the word in conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that this film, Rocky III, really moved me. And then tied back to say that every kid wanted to be Rocky, including me. York and I, speak slowly, elaborate on every topic, make good eye contact. How'd it go?
I think I had to speak a little bit slower, but I think the other two I did well.
What was the time?
3:31.
Yes, you had a whole lot of time, so you could have slowed down and elaborated on your feelings and made much more of the felt sensing that this speech was trying to teach. So on speaking slowly, you really do want to make that continued goal, David. You did not quite elaborate enough on your feelings on everyone. The eye contact was good. And I'm still concerned about your hands not being by your side. You'll see it on the YouTube tape tonight. You're doing this and this, which is steepling, which you don't want to do to your audience. But overall, good job. Thank you. Okay, let's begin our PC speeches. I'm real generous with volunteers who want to get it over with, so come on down. Let's have some volunteers and people on the waiting seat. These volunteers, good, come on down. Thank you for volunteering. Do we have a lady or man in waiting? Another person that could be next? Yes. Don't make me call on you. Is Robert here? Robert's going to find on it. Come on. Here's your Christmas present early. I gave you 2 extra scantron. Don't bend them, mutilate them.
Okay.
Spill any grease or oatmeal on them. Fill them out completely, including your birthday, your ID, everything.
Okay.
Bubble them in dark light. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Do you have somebody that will volunteer to go next? Okay. Let's just look around and call on people. Okay. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm very generous with volunteers. Okay, there you go. Perfect focus. Rosa stands before us, managing attention, communication, respect. Start speech.
Hi, my name is Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
So when I was in high school and I was asked the typical icebreaker question, what my ideal magic power would be, it would never be to fly or to become invisible. It would always be to be able to read people's minds. Now, unfortunately, throughout all of high school and the beginning of college, that was essentially the center of my universe, what others thought of me. And it ended up affecting from how I dressed, to what I spoke, and even to how I allowed others to treat me. Now, today I'll be sharing with you 2 reasons why I am personally committed to not allowing what others think of me affect my world, and 3 actions that I have taken towards this commitment. The reason that I'm sharing this with you today is because I believe that it's a problem that a lot of us have, and I think that it's not worth living a life full of, always constantly thinking about what others are thinking of you, and I think that by living that life, you just devalue the power to be yourself. So the first reason why I am personally committed to no longer allowing what others think of me affect my life and my decisions is because, like many other instances in high school, there was one instance where I was playing a Jeopardy game with a class, and unfortunately there were categories that I was not familiar with, such as classical music, so I wasn't able to contribute much. And all I remember was when a team member angrily screamed to me, "You are worthless." And I responded by saying, "I know." And the reason that I responded this way was because I remember thinking, well, what will others think of me if I reply back in a mean way? Or what if I hurt him by replying back in a mean way? But now looking back at it, I feel that by not having replied, defending myself like in the way I should have, I feel that I completely devalued who I knew myself to be at the time. And, it made me miss out, like this thought of what others are going to think of me me and made me miss out on a lot in high school, and it just made me not be able to develop myself completely the way I should have been developed in high school.
Good.
Now, the second reason why I am personally committed to no longer allowing what others think of me affect my life is because starting college, it was really hard for me to ask questions just because of, like the thought of what my team would think of me, of my ignorance of this material, and so I ended up with a C- in my first chemistry course. Now, this is the lowest grade I had ever received, so I remember going through a huge emotional struggle. I was crying for days, just feeling bitter, and just really guilty with myself for this grade, and so I remember that after going through this emotional struggle, I was able to reflect, and I thought, well, if placing so much importance on what others thought of me was going to impede me from succeeding, then it was no longer worth it. And so I have chosen 3 actions to work towards this commitment. Firstly, I have chosen to ask as many questions that I can to my TA, and last quarter I actually made a commitment to ask as many questions to the point where my TA actually knew my name. And although this sounds like, yeah, obviously your TA is going to know your name, well, believe it or not, before I had never interacted with my TAs at all, and so this was a huge achievement. Secondly, I decided to completely knock out of my head what others think of me, even when making the smallest decisions, such as what to wear that day. And thirdly, I have made it a commitment to constantly remind others and myself of our worthiness, no matter what others think of us. And by doing these actions, I just feel a lot more happier, and it just feels a lot more liberating to know that I'm doing what I'm doing because, I actually want to, not to please others, but for myself. And so in summary, I have shared with you 2 reasons why I am personally committed to no longer allowing what others think of me affect my decisions and my life, and 3 actions that I'm doing to work towards this. So there should be no doubt in this room that I am personally committed to no longer allow what others think of me affect my world. And if you were to ask me today what my ideal magic power would be, it would no longer be to be able to read people's minds, but to be true to myself and authentic at all times without having to think about what others are thinking. Thank you.
Good. Like, please.
Hi, my name is Rashma.
Hi, Rashma.
It's really good stage. You really helped around, and it was really well structured. Good job. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aman.
Hi.
I really liked your speech, and maybe just speak a little slower near the end. I kind of like your
Just yell out the time with me.
4 minutes and 8 seconds.
4 minutes and 8 seconds, yeah. So you had time. Yeah, slow down, yeah. Rivas, I liked your speech. Rosa, it was a good speech. You started with a personal story about kissing in the power stance, feet wider than your shoulders. Yeah, good habit. You want to fly or be invisible, but you want to be able to read people's minds, which is interesting. Take some classes in nonverbal communication. You get pretty close to that, because people don't monitor that as closely as they do their verbal. Yeah. Your thesis was excellent. You're well put. You had all the parts there. Your significant statement was good and well put. Your first story of why you're personally committed, of someone saying to your face, you're worthless, and you agreeing, ouch, because you did not know classical music. Yeah. I thought that was a really authentic and real story, and very took courage to tell, and a good response, and a good part of the growing up process of, having, people judge us and then taking it to heart and believing it and internalizing it, which is not so good, which you learn, from the situation. On your second reason or story, you told the story of getting a C-. in your chemistry course, and a lot of students, especially at this university, is so highly selective now, think that any grade other than an A is an F. And they cry rivers over B pluses or A minus. It's sort of strange. But you talked about learning to transcend the stuff, and as long as you're trying your best and doing your best. And what that C minus did for you was tell you where you stood and how you were doing so you could make adjustments. It's important to get that kind of honest feedback so someone's not blowing smoke up your nostrils, so that they're telling you, hey, you were C minus. You say, yes, I was. And when it started going to TAs and changing, and that was good. Your actions for your PC were all consistent with your PC, which I thought were good. I want to call all of your attention to the fact that she had the fourth step in there, which a lot of people skip, which is, and if you check your notes right now, make sure you have that fourth step, which is, and when I take these actions, I felt good, I feel happy, I feel like I'm evolving, I feel like I'm growing, and it's a chance to make an emotional connection with your audience. Your summary, conclusion, and tieback were all good. The only thing in terms of stickiness is I would ask you, what did you put in here that was unexpected?
I guess the saying "I know" after someone said that I was worthless.
Okay. You can show emotions, talk at a slower pace, and control your hand movements. How'd that go?
I definitely tried my best to control my hand movements a lot more, and I think I talked slower, although I know I did talk fast. I definitely tried to talk slower. Yeah, and you could even slow down even more. One of the dangers people have when they say, I'm going to control my hand movements, they overcompensate and keep them by their side, and you don't want to do that. And you don't want to do what we saw the last speaker do, with us always, putting his hands together and steepling like this, and holding his hands together. You don't want to do that either, but just gesture naturally as it will come. Overall, good job, Rosa. Okay, next, and then on deck. Yeah, let's have another on deck. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for volunteering. Looks like your dog brought this to school in its mouth.
I'm sorry.
Come on, we need an on-decker over here. On-decker here. Come on. Okay, Lauren stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect. How do you feel in the audience? You feel love. Oh, you're real close to the wall. Why? Are you afraid? No. Never be that close to the wall. Always be as close to your audience as you can without breaking their body bubble. You don't want to get in their personal space, but be right on the edge of their personal space. Good. Never have a podium or any barrier between you and your audience. Begin, Lauren.
Hi, my name is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I'm sure everyone in this room has heard the expression YOLO before, but has anyone really taken it seriously? Most people just use it as an excuse to do stupid things, but if you really think about it, it means you only live once. I think this is just another way of saying carpe diem, which means seize the day. This is very important, because when you live by YOLO, you tend to try new experiences, do stuff just to make yourself happy, and live a better, more positive life. This is a perfect way of summing up my personal commitment to being more optimistic and being more positive. Today with you, I'm going to share two stories and 3 reasons and 3 actions I've taken in order to live a more positive, optimistic life. Firstly, living as a dancer, it can be very difficult sometimes because you're constantly told by teachers that you're not good enough, you need to work on this, you don't have the right body type, anything could be an issue. And unfortunately, if anyone here has seen Dance Moms and seen how Abby Lee has treated students, that is pretty realistic to what life is. So because I'm broken down pretty much every single day of my life because of these teachers, I had to work on something to make myself feel better so that this wouldn't beat me down in the long run of life. So unfortunately, you have to face a lot of unpositive behavior in your life, but you have to look at some way to look past that and still be positive and optimistic. Because dance is what I love to do, so I still need to find that passion even if other people try to tear it down. The second reason I'm personally committed to living a positive, optimistic life is because last year, unfortunately, my boyfriend had really bad depression. And I had to live every single day hearing all of this depression, and I felt like there's nothing I could do to make him feel better, and it was just really hard on me. And honestly, even though I tried to live optimistic, I couldn't really help but be depressed with him because other people's emotions really affect mine. So because of this, I had to find some other avenue I could take in which I wouldn't just be sad all the time just because I'm around him. So now's 3 actions I've taken to live a more positive, optimistic life. To start with, whenever I'm in dance class, I always leave and tell myself at least one thing I like that day. Even if it's as little as like an arm movement, or I pointed my foot harder, or like anything that showed that I improved, and even if the teacher didn't notice it, it always makes me feel better and makes me leave with a more happy, positive attitude. The second action I've taken to live a more positive, optimistic life is that I try to complain less, and I also look at the positive and negative situations. For example, the other day, my friend told me he was really sad because he had mono. Then I said, how about look at the positive side? At least it's summer, so it's not like you're missing class or you're missing school or anything. And he's like, yeah, I guess that's right. And also, how much time do we spend saying, I'm bored, or I'm hungry, or I want to leave? Like, that doesn't do you any good. So might as well just change your mind around, and then you can be more positive and optimistic, and then you'll just be happier and shed a better light on other people around you as well. The third action I've taken to live a more positive, optimistic life is I go into every experience as if it's a new, exciting thing I could do, not something that I'm scared of or am regretful. Like, I remember the first time I went on a roller coaster ever, I would not go for half my life, but then I was like, why not? It's not going to kill me. And then I found out I loved roller coasters. So, you know what? You could always find good, even if you're scared at first. So, today with you, I've shared 2 reasons I'm personally committed to being optimistic, and 3 actions. Oh, but first, what I learned from when I took my actions, I felt better, I was more optimistic, and I just lived a better life, and I could tell the people around me were just happier being with me too. So, I've shared with you 2 reasons and 3 actions I have taken in order to live a more positive and optimistic life. There should be no doubt in this room that I'm personally committed to being the most positive, optimistic person I could possibly be. So, even if some people think YOLO is just an excuse to do stupid things that may get them in trouble with the law, I think YOLO is a way to live by, to live the happiest, most exciting life you can while you're alive. Because life is short, so might as well take advantage of it while you can. Thank you so much.
Time
4:27.
4:27. Okay, thank you. Let's quickly come on.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey.
I really like your speech. I can feel your confidence, and I can tell you live in a positive way. And I really love your personal stories.
Yeah. Improvement.
Hello, Mercedes.
Hi, Mercedes.
I was more conscious of how many times you walk. Did you walk kind of all the way over here and all the way over there?
Yeah. Lauren, I loved your speech, so let's talk about your walking. A lot of walking, and you didn't end up back in the power center of the room, which is where you want to be at the end, right? You know, for your climax, right in the center. Ooh. And, yeah, so other than that, though, you can work that out. Thank you, sir. So, let's talk about your speech. You started with YOLO, and you translated it. You only live. And don't take it seriously. You only live once. And you also mentioned carpe diem, and suddenly I thought you were going to do the old, I thought you were having a brain aneurysm and you were going to do the Dead Poets Society here for us, but no, you were going to do a personal commitment speech, so that was fine. Yeah, so you had a nice introduction and explained what it fit your philosophy. Your thesis was fine. You gave 2 reasons and 3 actions, and they were clear. Your 6th statement was fine. On the main body, I guess we all know Abby. I don't, but hey, maybe that's an allusion or reference that everyone else knows. Maybe it needed to be explained. That must be the stereotypical dance mother. Is that who Abby is or was?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you talked about your resilience in face of criticism, because you know the criticism only helps you grow and evolve, and so you had a good response to that. I thought that was well explained. You next talked about your ex-boyfriend who was dealing with depression, and you said it really was very difficult, and you felt that you were being sucked into his vortex of depression and negativity, and you didn't want that to happen, and you were self-aware of that, I guess is what you were saying. So we got an idea of what you'd been through and why you came to this decision of wanting to be more positive. On your actions, on your dance class of always trying to be creative each class and try something new and to go beyond the regular stretch, I thought was excellent. You know, it's a good first step that was consistent with your PC. Your second one with counseling your friend with mononucleosis. Was that at least it was in the summer? Was consistent. That was good. And trying new experiences, and you gave an example of a roller coaster, was good. You almost skipped how you feel about the actions you're taking to commit your PC. Your summary, your conclusion, tieback were all fine. The one thing I would say is, I just, if I could have had a little bit more personal, private kind of revelation, you know, that would have been good. I was maybe looking for it with the boyfriend depression stuff, but maybe you didn't feel comfortable doing that. Fine. York and I have a better conclusion, summary, and tieback, which you did do today, yes. Remember to walk 3 times. Boy, did you. 3 times 3. And talk slower and clearer. How did those goals go?
I feel like they went well.
Yeah, everything went well. Just the walking and come back to center, but
yeah.
Nice job. Lauren, thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Okay. Volunteer? Yeah, come on down. Let's have somebody on deck. Somebody on deck? Come on, come on. Let's get someone on the hot seat over here. Okay, you're a little far back, Olivia. Nothing to fear from us. Good. A bit that way. Okay. Olivia stands before us. Repeating the mantra, I respect my audience, and really meaning it. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
So, a 10-year-old girl watches her uncle struggle and ultimately pass away from cancer. What could she possibly take away from this? Well, I think this is best answered in the words of ancient Roman poet Virgil, who said that the greatest wealth is health. Today, I want to share with you my personal commitment to veganism, 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to this, and 3 ways in which I help demonstrate that commitment. I believe this topic is really worthy of my advocacy because it has completely transformed my life, both my mental and physical health and my outlook on nature and the world. So to begin, the first reason that I'm personally committed to veganism is because, like I said, it has transformed my health. Flashback to about 2014, I was 60 pounds heavier than I am today. My skin was breaking out, I didn't fit in my clothes, I was depressed and constantly tired. And I had remembered a few years ago seeing my uncle struggle, and I remembered that I never wanted to end up like that. I decided I had to make a change, so I started doing some research on different diets for health and weight loss. And I stumbled across the vegan diet. Now, I always thought vegans were kind of crazy, and I still think some of them are, but I was so desperate for a change that I decided to just jump right in. And within about 3 months, I stepped on the scale. I was down 20 pounds, my skin was clearing up, I felt better, I had energy, and I was no longer depressed. It was that moment when I stepped on that scale that I realized I never wanted to go back, and I made my personal commitment. The second reason that I'm personally committed to this is because it opened my eyes to a lot of cruelty going on in the world. I always loved animals as a kid, but I never really had to reconcile the idea that me eating meat meant that I had to kill them, which is kind of strange, but I couldn't avoid this after I watched a few documentaries on the treatment of animals in the farming industry. And I saw gruesome, bloody images. They didn't have a huge effect on me right away, but from then on, every single time I ate meat, those images flashed across my head, and they started to make me feel extremely guilty. In fact, about 2 months in of trying veganism, I decided to have a cheat day, and I remember just feeling awful the entire rest of the day and super guilty for like the next week. And it was that guilt that really made me feel like I don't ever want to feel that again, and I want to continue this. So now, a couple ways in which I help demonstrate this commitment. First, I subscribe to newsletters and constantly read new books and studies that come out on the health benefits of veganism. Because I believe health is so important, the fact that I comprehend my diet as being very healthy is extremely important to me and reinforces this commitment. The second way in which I do this is by following social media pages and YouTube channels and watching documentaries on the cruelty in a lot of these industries, because like I said, those images are very, very powerful to me. So every time I see them, it really reinforces this idea that I don't want to see that, I don't want to feel that guilt, and I don't want to contribute to that. And finally, I constantly keep pictures of myself before I went vegan and before I lost all the weight readily available, so that whenever I'm thinking about cheating, I can look at those and be like, I did not want to go back to that, because that wasn't very fun. And it reminds me of all my progress. So fourth, when I do all of these activities, it really, again, reinforces that idea and makes me so proud and happy of all the progress that I've made and how far I've come in my health and my outlook on the world. So in summary, I have told you about my personal commitment to veganism, a few reasons why I'm personally committed to this, and a few ways in which I demonstrate my commitment. And there should be no doubt in this room that I'm personally committed to veganism. So, in summary, once again, life can be a brutal teacher, but it has ultimately taught me that health is one of the greatest assets around, because there's truly no life at all without it. Thank you very much.
4:05. Quickly, comments. Hi, Michelle.
I thought your speech was really good. It was really organized, and I could understand you clearly.
Improvement.
Hi, I like your speech. You moved very naturally, and you make eye contact with the audience.
Okay, thank you. No, it was a good speech. It was one that was, you shared something very personal and private about yourself. You used to be 60 pounds heavier, and that took courage to do that. I appreciate that very much. You started with your uncle, and you saw that, despite everything, he died of cancer and whatever it was. And you quoted the Roman poet Virgil, who said, "The greatest wealth is health." Yeah. So, kind of a catchy phrase. And you mentioned him in your written tieback, but not in your oral. And I thought the Virgil was probably the most catchy part of your, as well as the quote. And so I would have mentioned, so remember the words of the poet Virgil. Without your help, you have nothing. And go for it, and something like that. I think at least consider veganism, something like that. Almost a persuasive appeal. Yeah. Thesis, perfect. Sixth statement, excellent. First reason, very compelling. You were very honest, very authentic. You were medically obese. You were breaking out, and you decided to try veganism. You lost 20 pounds in 3 months, and you had lots of energy, and so that said to you, this is good stuff. So that was a good and authentic sounding and compelling reason, which I like very much. Your Chicago footnote on the bottom here was also good. On your second reason, you mentioned cruelty to animals, and you saw some of the videos that are documentaries that are online about how awful it is the way we slaughter animals to provide protein for ourselves, and it's a pretty brutal process. It caused you to really solidify your commitment to veganism. And then you talked about your cheat day and having a pastrami sandwich, and you felt guilty and awful. And I thought that was, again, a very authentic and real thing. People do fall away. Oh, I could just have a pastrami sandwich. Or the other one is, I hear something, I go lox and bagels and cream cheese. Just one more time, yeah. On your actions, yes, you read books. Secondly, you keep a photo of yourself, and you keep watching videos about animals. How you feel was well done. Summary concluded tieback, except for not mentioning Virgil, was fine. You had 3 connives. You said use expressive tones to convey my emotions, make 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact, and walk around the room while I'm speaking. How did it go, Olivia?
I felt pretty good about them. I felt good about the eye contact, and I felt more expressive this time. I still think there's room for improvement in that, and I think I walked around.
Yeah, I think there was great improvement though, and there is some room for improvement, but you showed great improvement this time. The only thing I would say on the expressiveness is don't be afraid to have that feeling. You remember the felt sensing we learned to do in the first speech. But this was excellent. You had a little time, so you could have put more in or slowed down. But it was a good job. Thank you very much. Do we have anybody on deck? We got Angelo coming forward. Angelo stands before us, managing the tension. And begin.
I am Angelo.
Hi, Angela.
I'm a firm believer that hardship builds character. Whether it's something small like tripping over the sidewalk or something big like a breakup or failing a test, 9 times out of 10, we can learn something from it. And we can never totally rid ourselves of hardship either. This sounds terrible, but really all this means is that we'll always be learning something about ourselves. I've seen some hard times myself, and from these hard times I've been given one thing above all else. A personal commitment to never take anything for granted and to live out my life to the fullest. The hardship I've been through is depression, an illness which afflicts far too many and yet is spoken by far too few. Depression is one of the most prevalent mental illnesses in the United States, and yet there's still this massive stigma associated with it. People are afraid to go out and speak about it. People are afraid to go out and seek help because they think they'll be seen as weak, or they think they'll be seen as some sort of weirdo by their friends. And in sharing my story, I hope to fight that stigma. And not only that, I hope to inspire those who know someone who's been affected by depression, or those who've experienced it themselves, to not be afraid to go out there and say something about it. My depression has really been central to my personal commitment. I've had it for a very, very long time. I'd say maybe about 6 years. So long that I really considered it to be a normal part of my life. I had it growing up, and I just thought it's normal, so I never really bothered to seek out help. And unfortunately, because of this, it really hit its lowest point in winter quarter just this year. It had gone on for so long, and it had gotten so bad that I was even having difficulty performing basic functions. I stopped going to class. I began isolating myself socially. I even lost 10 pounds because I couldn't even motivate myself to eat half the time. All I could do was lie in bed and sleep for hours and hours in a desperate but futile attempt to make the pain go away. Of course, this isn't how it works, and it wasn't long before I couldn't take it anymore. In late February, I nearly took my own life. Nearly. I confessed to one of my friends the night of, and she called the police without me knowing. They entered my apartment at around 5 in the morning and woke me up, shining flashlights in my face, telling me to put my hands up. I did, and once they realized I wasn't an immediate threat to myself or to them, we sat down and we talked it out for a while. And they were nice, but ultimately we knew what needed to happen. So they handcuffed me and escorted me to the emergency room around Reagan, just down the street. While I was there, I just had a quick diagnostic with a psychiatrist and a nurse, and then I was transferred up to the psych unit upstairs. And while I was there, a few weird things happened. I'd say the weirdest of which was I had a lot of visitors. If you asked me before, my depression would make me think these people didn't care about me at all. You know, why would they be here? They don't care about me. And yet here they were, handing over clothes, giving me presents, or even just dropping by to say hello. It was so sweet. And what's even weirder was that they treated me like I was their friend, not some sort of freak in the psych ward. It was like I was just plucked out of their rooms and I was just thrown in the hospital, and the setting didn't change at all. We'd hang out, make jokes, we'd act weird, we'd be dumb, just like we always did outside the hospital. It was like nothing ever happened. They made me realize that people don't say things like, we care for you, or it will get better, just to make you feel better. It's because they're true. And that gave me hope for the first time in a very, very long time. And after 3 days, I was discharged. I left the hospital a changed person. That's really when my personal commitment to live life to the fullest really began. And that's when I started taking actions to achieve this, the first of which is treatment. Once I was discharged from the hospital, I was connected with an off-campus therapist and psychiatrist, whom I still see to this day. And while we are still having some trouble finding the right medication for me, I know that we're getting close. The second thing I'm doing is I'm trying to live life more in the present. I've noticed this thing in our culture. We're so obsessed with working so hard and pushing ourselves so much so that we can be successful in our real lives, in the real world after we graduate. We brag about how hard our classes are, we brag about how little sleep we get, and yet we're so caught up in the notion that we're preparing for our future that we forget that our lives are happening right now as we speak. This is something I was a victim of, and now I'm learning to live life to the fullest, to never take it for granted. And the third action I'm taking is, it's happening right now. I'm sharing my story with you all. With depression, it never really does go away. It just becomes something that you learn to deal with in your life. And by sharing my story with you, I'm hoping to become more confident in myself and more accepting of who I am, even if I'm not perfect. All these actions I've taken have been part of the long road to recovery. I'm still on that road, and there are still days when I do struggle. But I'm proud to say that every day when I wake up, the sun seems to shine just a little bit brighter. And not only that, I'm beginning to appreciate life just a little bit more. Whether it's the sound of my shoes clacking against the ground, or that next delicious bite of sushi, or the sound of wind brushing against my face when I ride my bike to class, or the fucking bliss of being with the people I care about. There are so many things we take for granted, and if we all just slow down just a little bit and really just soaked it all in, it's hard not to realize just how beautiful it all is. And that's where I stand now. I've shared with you my story, how I got here, and I've shared with you the actions I'm taking to achieve this personal commitment. Like I said before, I'm a firm believer that hardship builds character, and I've seen some shit. But I learned something from it. And because of that, I can say without even a shred of doubt in my voice that I am personally committed to never take anything for granted, and to live out my life with passion. Thank you all so much.
Did everyone initial the roll sheet? Well, that's the on deck seat. That means you're speaking next. I'm sorry, one more time.
I really like the story. It's clear and it's attractive and it's
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And improvement. Improvement.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
I loved your speech. It was so good. You were so expressive. I can never think of anything bad to say. But the only thing is, every once in a while, it seemed like you didn't really know what to do with your hands. That's the only thing.
Thanks.
Yeah, you put them in your back pocket. You put them behind yourself like you had a gun back there. So you want to keep your hands up front and moving. Great speech. Very authentic. I may use it as a model speech. It was so real. Here's what I want to say about this speech. I think it took real courage to talk about this and to talk about the fact that you almost took your own life. And I think there's something also to be said for all of us if we suspect or hear any of our friends even hint that they may want to end their life. It's important to call the police or get them help or call their parents, and I've done this many times in my life. And because with help, this can pass. And it's not a one-time thing. It is a one-time thing if they get a gun and do it, you know, but if they get help and there's intervention, then there's hope, and it's just a blip on the radar screen. So I think I would send your guardian angel flowers every year on her birthday to call the police. In any case, you talked in your introduction about hardship and how we learn from it. I thought it was an excellent introduction, observational type introduction. Your thesis preview was good. I would like just a little bit more previewish in terms of what you were going to do, you know, some reasons and actions. But anyway, you did tell us what your main point was. Your sixth statement was excellent, except for the times you put your hands in the back pocket, which you'll see on camera. Your first reason was so honest. You've been depressed for 6 years. You told me you didn't go to class. You stopped performing. You stopped eating, and you would lie a bit in a futile attempt to get away from your problems. There's, by the way, a really excellent film about depression and people being nursed back to health called Men Don't Leave. I don't know if you've ever seen it, with Jessica Lange, but she goes through this tremendous depression. Her family brought her back, and it's a very uplifting film. Anyway, on your when you said you nearly took your own life, that was a very authentic and unexpected moment. And the police came, they cuffed you, they took you to Reagan, they shipped you up to the psych unit. You stayed for 3 days, you got counseling, you got hooked up with a psychiatrist, and they gave you hope after you got discharged. Your actions of treatment, of living in the now, of not worrying about yesterday or tomorrow, is a good philosophy that's hard to live, but a good one to try to achieve, I'll say that. I would say, by the way, for depression, people brag about how little they sleep, especially college students, and that's part of why they're depressed. They're sleeping 2 hours a night and binging on caffeine and screwing their bodies up massively and getting really out of sync that way. It's really important to sleep. You do better in school, you do better with your study, you do better with your emotional life, everything. So that was good. And your third step of accepting yourself as what you are, a work in progress, was good. I found your passion that you expressed so vividly of the bite of sushi, the wind, etc., was wonderful, was real, was very authentic and just great. And it reflected the idea of living life in the present and noticing the beauty that is there in life. Conclusion good, tie back good. Your canines, more eye contact, fidget less, make the stories detailed. How'd it go?
I was still fidgeting with my hands, definitely mixing them around.
Yeah.
But I think I made more sustained eye contact with the audience, which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot of detail in that story.
Yeah. I don't know if you can, I hate to tell people wash your hands because then they just leave them by their side in a very awkward, stuffy manner. But maybe, have you heard of Tai Chi, where you learn to move slowly and get in touch with what your body is doing while you're speaking? Might be a helpful thing for you. But really excellent speaks. Thank you so much. Okay, next. There we go. She's in the hot seat. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Yeah. One step that way. Could be in the center. Yes. Oh, so perfect. Yes. Stephanie stands before you saying the mantra, I respect my audience. She really means it. Start your speech.
Hi, my name is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Have anybody ever struggled with the right word to say when trying to articulate a thought?
Yes.
Well, I have. I'm constantly worried about the right words to say. And what really comes to mind is a phrase where someone says, lose it, use it or lose it. Now, whoever coined this phrase was right, because as a teenager and young adult, I used to read all the time. My short list of authors was long. Like Mary Higgins Clark was my favorite mystery author. Jackie Collins, I got a peek at high society from her. I learned the word Freud raw from reading one of her books. Stephen King, Anne Rice, those are other authors that, I read, like waiting, for the next books to come out. My point is that during this time period, words flew out of my mouth with no effort. And I'm going to reclaim that. That's my intention. So today I'll share with you my personal commitment to read more. I believe that through reading more, it will enable me to regain that automaticity that I had once before, some time ago. I'll share with you 2 reasons that I feel that reading will improve my diction and my pronunciation, elocution, and I'll give you 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate how reading more will help my diction. The first reason is that, again, my pronunciation is an issue. My language is creolized. My mother is from Louisiana. My husband of 21 years is Nigerian. So both of these people have greatly influenced how I speak, my speech patterns. So at times I find myself wondering, did I pronounce a word right while it's coming out of my mouth? It's like that stressful for me. And recently I realized that I have to take a stand and make a decision because my husband speaks the Queen's English. So words like interesting or the American way, interesting, or interesting without the T is silent. So I've come to realize that I have to make a choice. The second reason why I feel like reading more will help my diction, in that reading, I'm an entrepreneurship minor, and I realized that I struggle with the industry lingo at times, and in order to be more comfortable expressing myself in business terms, I feel like reading more will help that also. So the 4th reason is that I think it'll just make me feel better overall. It'll help with my confidence. The 3 actions that I've taken so far is that I've reduced my TV watching time. I've even changed out watching the news and versus I've changed out watching the news to reading the news online, which has helped me. I realize that my understanding is greater when I read. Also, I've decided to reread some of my business books and materials, in my attempt to get a better grip on my business language. And also, lastly, during the summer, I plan to read at least 2 or 3 books a week, just basically to reclaim what I've lost. In summary, I've told you 2 reasons why I feel like reading will help my speech. And I've given you 3 actions that discuss how I feel they will be helpful. In conclusion,
there should be no doubt in this room.
Oh, there should be no doubt in this room, thank you, that I've proven to you that I'm committed, I'm personally committed to reading more. My favorite authors of the past were Mary Higgins Clark and Jackie Collins, but now they've been replaced with UCLA's own Tananarive Due, who's a sci-fi mystery thriller author. And so over the summer, I plan on catching up with her latest books. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 5:35. Okay, good. So that was much shorter than your normal time. So thank you for respecting the time. Quickly, what do you like?
I am Angela.
Angela.
I really liked the amount of confidence that you had, especially towards the beginning of your speech.
Thank you. I didn't feel it, but I really appreciate it.
Good. I liked your speech. It was heartfelt and revealing. And step back a step if you could, please. I have you in camera. Yeah, and stay in the power stance. Like your speech. Thought that it was heartfelt and honest. You were being authentic, and I like that. Your introduction was 1.5 minutes long, and so you have a tendency to go on too long with your introduction. We didn't need the laundry list of Mary Higgins Clark and Jackie Collins and Stephen Kleen and Alice Walker and Anne Ryan. You could have mentioned those in a single sentence, and just gotten done with it. But just say, I used to be an avid reader. Here were some of my choices, but somehow I stopped. I found that I was more articulate when I was reading. Okay. You do that in 30 seconds, not in 1:30, right? So move it along in the beginning and get to your thesis. Your thesis was fine. Your stress with your voice, the narrative, so I have 2 reasons, 3 actions that I've taken to achieve my PCC. You skipped the SIG statement. This is really important to all of you because it's important to have a PC and be committed to something, and then you'll appreciate hearing mine. Okay. On your first reason, thought it was very authentic to tell us that your world is creolized. Wow, what a word. That your parents were from Louisiana. My husband of 21 years is Nigerian and speaks the King's English. And so you have a lot of influences happening in your world, and you're battered, I guess, with competing, hearing words pronounced in many different ways, and you're sort of having to make decisions instantly as you hear them spoken in many ways, and then when you want to use them, and it can be tricky. So I thought that was an authentic explanation of your problem. Your second reason about the fact that you felt that you weren't really up to speed on your business language and stuff, I thought was okay. I didn't. And I thought your actions, as we were going to review that, was consistent with getting at that problem. Your actions, well, one thing, about you cut back on television watching. As long as it's, what's the name of that? 2 Dumb Waitresses, I wouldn't watch that. But if you can watch PBS News where they pronounce words correctly and properly, and the local news, if it bleeds, it leads. All you see is, someone got a car chase and someone got a drive-by shooting and got killed. It's the same every night. You don't need the local news. You've already heard it. But the BBC or PBS has, the King's English, better way to hear pronunciation. So I wouldn't completely lay off of television completely. But I like the other part of what you're doing of rereading books and that sort of thing, and having a goal of reading 2 or 3 a week was all good. You skipped how you feel when you take the actions. Remember, I highlighted that.
I understand how I felt, though.
Discovering my identity, my lost mother and wifehood. I love being retail. You didn't say it there.
Yeah, I didn't say that part, but I kind of ad-libbed
Okay, well, say, you know, how you feel right after your reactions. On your summary, it was good. Your conclusion was good. When your tie back to your authors that you did was good, and you were much shorter, thank God. Your canais, take a breath, eliminate the ums, and stop pacing. How'd it go?
I don't remember breathing. I think I didn't pace. I think I may have swayed, but I didn't pace. What do you guys think? Did I pace or sway?
That's better. That's good. Yeah, it was more meaningful walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to come back to the center. Remember, end up in the center. Yeah. And so that you made an improvement, Stephanie, and that's all we're looking for. Thank you. Okay, I don't see anybody in that seat. Next.
The battery.
Oh, the battery. Thank you. Oh, good man.